Well, look, it's very clear to me that the assurances we've had from the Prime Minister, from the Foreign Secretary, and from David Davis are all about protecting the interests of the people of Gibraltar before, during, and after the context of the Brexit negotiations that are about to begin. Those Brexit negotiations are really twofold. First, exiting the European Union. It is now clear that Gibraltar is going to form part of that exit process. Gibraltar is part of the member state United Kingdom for EU purposes, and therefore we are definitely part of the exit negotiation.
Despite Spain trying to prevent that?
Despite Spain initially trying to prevent that. So the leaving of the European Union is something which includes Gibraltar for negotiation purposes, right? The second is the new deal or deals that may be done between the UK and the EU, trade deals or other deals that may be done between the UK and the EU once the UK is out, or once the UK at least has started the process of agreeing the exit deal. Those are the ones that might be covered by this pernicious Clause 22 in the draft guidelines from the European Council. In respect of that clause, I've had contact with David Davis. I've had 3 conversations with him in the past 3 days. One of them was about a briefing about what happened in Madrid when he was there. I'm going to keep that completely confidential. It was a confidential briefing to me of what happened in Madrid, but I can tell you I'm totally satisfied about the way that David Davis represented the people of Gibraltar in Madrid in the context of the role he has there.
It wasn't about Clause 22, was it? It was prearranged.
It was totally prearranged. And then the conversations I've had with him about Clause 22 and his assurance to me that, and I'm going to do what you've asked me, I'm going to give you the exact words he gave me when I was examining these issues with him and the effect of Clause 22, the creation of the double veto, Spain's attempt to have a second bite at the cherry, simply on Gibraltar. He said to me, well, it's very simple. We won't do that deal. We won't do that deal. That means that the United Kingdom is committing itself not to do deals which exclude Gibraltar going forward. So the protection of our interests and a specific commitment not to do those deals. And in respect of protection of our interests, let's be very clear. The interest of Gibraltar can only be determined by the government of Gibraltar. We have this argument in the United Nations about interests and wishes. And of course, in respect of the right of self-determination, it is only our wishes that can be relevant. Now, here we expressed our wish in the referendum, and 96% of us voted to stay in the European Union. That wish cannot now be what's relevant because the United Kingdom as a whole, including us, voted to leave. So in the context of leaving, it's not our wishes that are relevant, it's our interests. In the same way as the interests of Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and indeed any town or village or industry will be relevant for the Prime Minister's negotiations. The expression of the interests of Gibraltar must be the expression of the interests of Gibraltar as articulated by the government of Gibraltar. And therefore that means that given the specific terms of what David Davis told me, that is a second, in my view, protection, because the first protection, which is from the Foreign Secretary, from the Prime Minister, and from David Davis also, to protect our interests, that must also mean, because the government of Gibraltar so considers, and indeed all of Gibraltar, I'm sure, that it is in Gibraltar's interest that we should not be excluded from any future deal that is relevant to Gibraltar between the United Kingdom and the European Union, whatever Spain may have tried to insert into the negotiating process. The United Kingdom must reject that parameter when it goes into those negotiations about those future deals.